Hi, APU community. My name is Jasmine Campos, and I will be your host on today's episode of Zoo TV. Today, I'm going to sit down for an exclusive interview with Campus Safety Chief Paul Dennis. We're going to talk about everything from how Campus Safety is planning for a safe return to a new app they're launching called Safe APU. Finally, we're also going to delve into APU's new plan to introduce more armed security onto campus and what he believes is the true goal of campus safety. Tune in. Awesome. Okay, so hi, thank you for sitting down with us today. I am with Department of Campus Safety Chief Paul Dennis. Before we kind of get into anything, I was wondering if just for a first question, you could describe a little bit about what your role is for campus safety and kind of what you think what an average day looks like for you on campus.
Yeah, great. Well, first of all, Jasmine, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to you and to your colleagues over at Zoo News for wanting to take the time to learn a little bit more about campus safety. In your brief intro there, you addressed me as chief. And so I'm just going to make a quick correction there. I don't like to go by chief. The way I view it is that, we're not a municipal police department here on campus. And so when I took the position 2 years ago, I shared with, my direct report at the time that I'd like to go by director or executive director of campus safety, or even better, I like my birth name, which is Paul. So you can call me that. But in regards to campus safety, and our number one priority, it's really just to create the safest space that we can for our students, staff, and faculty, right? I mean, it's our mission to create an environment where those that come here can come here for the purpose of learning and the purpose of working and the purpose of growing without having to worry about their safety and their environment. And so on a daily basis, that's what myself and my team are charged with doing, and that's what we're taking a deep dive into over the last 2 years that I've been here, is to look around and see how can we get better? How can we be safer? How can we make this environment much more comfortable for those that spend time here? So that's our number one goal.
Yeah, so kind of along those lines, with everything going on in the world right now and the COVID-19 pandemic, I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about, is campus safety prepared if the students were to return back to campus in the spring, and kind of what changes or training or protocols are in place to make it not only safe in a public sense, but safe in a health sense as well, as far as the campus safety is concerned?
Yeah. This year has been incredible, hasn't it? I mean, just no way to really just describe it. Just so much newness and challenges. But I believe firmly that our God doesn't task us with anything He doesn't think that we can manage, and we just have to be obedient and listen to His direction and what He asks us to do. Right. So that's what we're doing here in campus safety. When our students come back, God willing, in the spring. Our focus is to make sure that they're safe, right? Not just safe from, like you mentioned, the physical aspects of what we deem as traditionally being safe, but there's a new type of safety we have to be more equally as concerned with too, and that's our health, right? So we're focused on really understanding what are the county ordinances that are in place, that are designed to ensure our safety, and are our practices on campus in line with those? What are the university's rules and regulations that are in support and in line with what the county regulations are? And campus safety is going to do our part to ensure those things, right? But it's a collective effort. Right, it's a collective effort. We all have to take ownership to ensuring each other's safety by doing whatever we can, whether that's wearing our face masks, whether that's employing appropriate physical distancing. And I know it's a challenge. I was a college student too, and amongst my best 4 years of my life was being a student living on this campus. So I know what it's about to be on campus and be in that social setting. And I'm confident we'll return to that space at some point, but we've got to return to it when it's safe. So until we arrive at that point, we all just have to join forces as a team and contribute to each other's safety in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ties in exactly. APU's cornerstone of community is just going to take a different role, and it's community together, but it's also being aware of one another and how we can help one another in these times.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's critical.
Yeah. So along with new roles and new safety and new protocols, I am told that there is a new campus safety app called Safe APU. Could you tell me a little bit about how the app came about, whose idea was it, and then what is the main goal behind it, and what is it designed to do for the APU community?
Well, I tell you what, I am so excited about Safe APU because this is a concept or an idea that came to me about 18 months ago from a student. And it was a member of our Student Government Association. And one day this young lady came into my office and wanted to talk to me about a few things. And amongst those things was the use of a phone app that could contribute to the safety of our community. And so she had my interest right away. And the app that she showed me, I liked it, but I thought we could do better. And so I kind of, rolled up my sleeves, and I happened to go to a conference a short time later and saw many other products that were in line with what the student has shared with me. And Safe APU was the one that we landed on. And I tell you, I cannot thank that student enough for having the vision, the courage, the initiative to bring it forward and allowing me to run with it. As much as I'd love to take claim to bringing this thing to campus, I got to give credit where credit is due. And so she brought this thing forward, and we have it because of a Student Government Association member is why it's here now. But the features of it that I love is just picture those mobile blue lights, or excuse me, those blue lights that you see all around campus, right? Where you can walk to them if you have an emergency and pick up the phone. Well, essentially with Safe APU, you have that blue light in your pocket or wherever you carry your purse all the time. So you're always going to be able to be connected to campus safety. But on top of that, there are features within it such as emergency plans, right? What do I do in the event of an earthquake? What do I do if there's a bomb threat? What do I do if there's a wildfire like there has been this summer? What is the plan? What do I do, God forbid, that there is a lockdown on campus? What does that mean? What does shelter in place mean? What are the steps I take if there's an active shooter? All of these protocols are now going to be at your fingertips in that app, right? One of the most exciting things about that app for me is it has a feature called Friend Walk. So let's say you have an evening class over on West Campus, and you live over, in Engstrom over here on East Campus, and you got to walk from west to east. And it's the winter time, so it's getting dark a little bit earlier, and campus safety does run a shuttle after the trolley is done, but sometimes the shuttle might already be occupied. So you end up you can't wait because you got to get back, you're hungry, whatever it may be. And so you decide you want to walk. Well, you'll be able to, using the Safe APU app, send a quick message to any friend that you choose. It will send them a map of exactly where you are. And that map is an interactive map. So they will actually be able to track your walk and see exactly where you are as you're walking from West Campus back to East. If along that journey, something came up, you had an emergency, you would send them, push another little button, which is right there on your screen. It sends them a message to let you know, for them to check in on you. They can call you. They'll be able to even see exactly where you are on the map. So they could come over to, the intersection of walk and don't walk and meet you there because they would know exactly where you're at. So it's just another tool that we're going to have in our hands to help each other look after each other and watch out for each other. Another feature within there is what we call a crime mapping system. So you'll be able to see what kind of activity is happening in our area or on our campus, right? Where are bikes getting stolen from? Where are cars getting broken into? The more information that we can share with one another, the better decisions that we can make to keep our campus safe. So that's a big plus,
Yeah.
and I owe it all to one of our very own students for bringing that idea forward.
Yeah. I mean, as a journalist, one of the best parts of my job and the things that I love the most is transparency. And that's just, it's helpful for everybody to understand what's going on, to keep those lines of communication just more open than ever before. Just to clarify, is the app available for download already right now?
It is, yes. So we launched what's called a soft launch, if you would, in April. Unfortunately, the larger portion of our population was already gone and at home, but we still had some students that were still living on campus. So we wanted to get that tool available to them as soon as possible. So we launched it back in, I want to say late April or early May. And then we intend to do another, marketing and launching of it when our students return back to campus. Because my goal is to have 100% participation. Everybody should have safe APU on their phone.
Yeah. I know just in the short time that I've been at APU, the few times that we've had to lock down or there were active shooters around campus, even those text messages that you guys would send and the updates were the best form of comfort that we could have asked for, just knowing what's going on at all times. So to have that at our fingertips, and then so much more that you mentioned with a friend walk. I know I've had classes late and not even going to Engstrom, going all the way to University Park. So even crossing one more street to get there, I know that it's always nice to have a friend or someone that you can call. So for those that don't have an immediate person, that is going to be so helpful. And I'm so grateful for that app. That's so awesome. Excited to download it and start using it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great.
Yeah, so shifting of my questions a little bit here. One thing that I have been hearing amongst the student body and that's kind of been talked about lately is that after APU released a couple weeks ago our 7-year strategic plan, something that was in there was, quote, to initiate progressive programs to arm qualified campus safety personnel. And I know that a lot of students were both concerned and upset and somewhat scared by the fact that there's going to be armed security on campus. So I was just wondering if you could provide us with any words of context or kind of understanding on why this move was being made and what the goal is for either increasing or adding armed security to APU's campus.
Yeah, great. So, Jasmine, as you know, I came to the university in this capacity in 2018 after 26, almost 27 years of law enforcement service with the city of Azusa. And one of the things that I was asked to do when I came to the university was to really take a look at, our practices and really focus in on two areas. One was relationship building and strengthening the relationships between campus safety and all of our other stakeholders across the university. And the other one is identifying a way to enhance this overall safety of the university. So you did see in President Ferguson's strategic plan a commitment to safety, and a part of that is identifying the best model of campus safety for our institution. And having qualified campus safety officers on campus that are armed is a part of that process. But I must share with you that having an armed personnel or having armed personnel on the Azusa Pacific University is not a brand new concept, right? In, I want to say about 2010, well, let me take a step back even a little further. Campus safety has been around at the university for a long time. Even when I was a student here many years ago, there was a campus safety department. And over time, you have to evolve, right? You evolve and you get better and you improve. In 2010, the university recognized the need to be able to be more responsive in the event of something unfortunate happening on campus. And it was around 2010 where the university entered into an agreement with Azusa police department, and we had one of their officers on our campus, commonly known as the University Resource Officer, right? You've seen that fully uniformed fully uniformed Azusa officer on our campus. Well, that started about 10 years ago. So in theory, we've had an armed presence on our campus for 10 years. In about 2016, 2017, the university conducted a couple of assessments. They had some experts come in and take a look at campus safety, and take a look at the university, and take a look at the community and make some recommendations. So there were quite a few recommendations that were made. And a second assessment was done again in, I want to say, about 2018. And what was concluded after exploring those and looking at those was that there are some adjustments that the university needs to make to ensure that they are prepared to ensure the safety of the university. And it's not just specific to, just being armed. It's being positioned and able to respond to whatever emergency situation may arise, whether it's an earthquake, whether it's a fire, whether it's whatever type of critical incident. And so one of the recommendations that was made was developing a campus safety department that's more of what's called a hybrid. Okay, a hybrid meaning there are some personnel that are unarmed, observe only type individuals, and then there are some personnel that are much more highly trained, highly qualified, gone through a significant hiring vetting process, and are prepared and equipped to respond to critical incidents that need immediate response until law enforcement personnel could arrive. And so that's where we have landed, and that's where we are shifting and moving towards. We have made very good strides in that direction. We have done our whole hiring process, and I think what's really important for our community to understand is that this is a very well thought out transition plan, right? We are leaving no stone unturned as it relates to how we go about doing this, from the individuals that are selected for these positions, to the training that they have to have coming into the position, to the training that they will receive as they are in the position. So it's ongoing, continuous professional development. And so we have worked closely with various stakeholders across the university on this, what this transition looks like. There have been voices from a variety of areas within the university. This is not just campus safety coming up with a plan that they believe is the best for the university. This is a collaborative engagement across the university, getting input from a variety of stakeholders to land at the model that we have landed at. And I'm excited about it. Having been a student here, having lived on this campus, having worked in this community for a very long time, I am so excited that the university has taken this step to advance our community safety. So that's where we are.
Yeah, you mentioned that there's going to be an increase in training and the vetting process for those security that are armed. Do you happen to know any, or could give any examples of what that increased training or vetting is, what the higher qualifications for that are going to be? And then kind of along with that, do you have any rough estimates or numbers of kind of how many more armed officers there will be versus, will it be a 50-50 ratio? Are there going to be one or two more armed officers on campus? Kind of what is that going to look like as far as numbers go?
Yeah, great question. So the process of this transition is one that's not going to happen overnight, right? It's a gradual process, right? So initially we are going to have 3 armed officers on our campus. And when I say armed officers, their title are what we're calling special services officers, okay? So you asked about the hiring process and the selection process, and then I'll touch on the training as well. The first step of the process is that they would apply just like anyone applying for a job. And after they were successful in the application process, they're invited in for an interview. Now, even to get to the interview point, they have to meet certain prerequisites. One being they have to either have already gone through a California certified basic police academy, which is minimally 665 hours of training. And most academies up and down the state are on average about 800 to 850 hours of training, right? So they have to have already either gone through one of those academies or be eligible to go through one of those academies. Okay, and so if they haven't been through one or they're not eligible to go through one, they're not even going to get called in for an interview. So if they do get called in for an interview, they do their first line level interview with members of my staff, right? So there would be some members of my staff that do that first interview with them. If they pass that first interview, they're called in for a second interview, and that's an interview with me and one of my other senior leaders. And in that interview, it's a little tougher. All right, that first interview, you just basic. But the second interview, we turn up the heat a little bit, right? And so we're asking them some more specific questions. If they navigate that interview well, I give them what's called a personal history sheet, which is about 27, 28 pages long. And they have to fill out their whole personal history. Where have they worked? Relatives, any disciplinary issues they may have had. All of their personal history goes on this document. After they have turned that in, they are sent for a polygraph exam with a polygrapher. If they successfully pass the polygraph, I put them into the background process, and now a private investigator that is not a member of my team, this is outsourced, conducts an in-depth background investigation on them, going out and talking to everybody that they know, all their previous employers, looking at their criminal history, looking at their discipline record of previous employers, all of that. So a full background is conducted. If they pass that background, they're brought back for another interview with some different stakeholders across the university. For example, Shino Simons has participated in that process, right? Our Vice President of Student Affairs. Gary Pine, our Athletic Director, has participated in that. Over at University Relations, Maureen Taylor has participated in that. Charlie Moore in Residence Life. So there's a variety of stakeholders across the university that are helping us identify the right fit for our institution to serve in the capacity of Special Service Officer. If they navigate that interview process, they're sent for a psychological evaluation. And again, that is outsourced with a California certified psychologist who specializes in public safety evaluations, right? Is someone fit for this type of work? If they navigate that, they are sent for a medical exam to ensure that they are physically sound to perform the stresses of this job. If they pass that, then I make a recommendation to Dr. Ferguson that this individual has successfully navigated our process, and I'm confident that they're a good fit in this role for our university, and I request that Dr. Ferguson endorse this candidate. So
and
that's
security, correct?
I beg your pardon?
That's for both armed and unarmed security?
That currently, the process I just described for you is just for our armed special service officers, right? I am looking into re-evaluating our unarmed process as well. But what I just described to you just now is already in place for any special service officer that's going to be hired at our university.
Okay.
So if that candidate has already been through a police academy, I don't have to send them because they already have that training, right? But let's say they hadn't gone through the academy, then after they were hired, I would send them to an academy to get that training. Once they come back, now they have to learn our policies and procedures. And I mentioned earlier when I was talking about why I don't bear the title chief, right? We're not a police department. We're an institution of learning. And that will always be our number one objective and focus. And when a special service officer comes on campus, we ensure that they understand that, right? Our goal here at Campus Safety is to do whatever we can to contribute to our student success, right? And certainly ensuring their safety, is going to contribute to their success. But it's there's more to it than that, in my opinion, right? I want my staff to engage and be involved and be supportive of our students. So we're going to do a lot of in-house training or professional training so that we can better understand our students and where they come from and who they are and who we are. Example of that is just this summer we spent some time, and thank you to Dr. Keith Hall and Aaron Inahosa and members of our criminal justice department who partnered with us in some implicit bias training that we did this summer. And that's just step one of what I hope to be a series of ongoing training on that topic, and on the topic of cultural diversity and just understanding each other, because we're all different, right? And we all come from different backgrounds, and that's what makes us so beautiful, right? And the more we can understand things about others, the better community that we can be. So we're committed to training in that regard, in areas of crisis intervention, right? It's been a difficult year, and we know that many of us are going to come back in the fall, in the spring, hopefully, maybe in a different place. Yes. We're going to come back in a different place than we were when we left. And I just want to make sure that my team is best equipped to be as supportive as we can to anyone that might need it when they find themselves back here when we resume. So.
Yeah, I mean, you took my one of my final questions right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you about what kind of training you guys were going to do going forward in light of recent events happening between the tensions between the public and police departments across the nation. But it's so nice to hear and so refreshing that you're more than just campus safety. And I think that it's about the environment that you are cultivating, and the understanding that you're putting forth is really, it's refreshing to know that you're more than just police officers walking around campus, but that you have an actual desire and a role to play in the educational aspect of APU, not just the policing aspect of it.
Absolutely. And to me, it's a very important role, and one that can't be ignored, right? Because I tell you, when I was here as a student, just the support that I got from the various administrative areas of the university, it was incredibly valuable. And so I don't forget that. And, God has put me in this position for a reason. I've told the story in the past. I got my undergrad degree here and then went a few blocks away and to work for 27 years. And then, God could have taken me anywhere else to do this work. And what does he do? He brings me right back to the same place. So, he brought me here for a reason. Yep. And I'm committed to doing his work and doing his work the way he wants me to do it. And I think it's by ensuring that our students are the number one priority, and making sure that we are here for them, here to protect them, but more importantly, here to serve them. Right? And that's what we're committed to doing.
That's very encouraging. Very, very encouraging words. So those are all the questions I have for you. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the APU community that you want them to know going forward about the relationship between the APU community and campus safety, or anything that you just feel needs to get out there?
Yeah, well, again, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the time and for Zoo News for creating this space for us to share. I just want the APU community and our students to know that and you said it, Jasmine. We're not here to police them, if you would. Like I said, we're not a police department. We are here to make sure that you have a safe space to enjoy this 4 or 5 years of your life, right? And I tell you, I reflect back on those years of my life quite often, and they were amongst the most joyous times of my life. And I want every student that comes here to have that, to feel that, and to know that campus safety wasn't here just looking to get them in trouble or looking for the bad things that they do. I want them to walk out of here knowing that, man, campus safety had my back the 4 years we were here, right? Those guys and gals, they really cared. They really wanted me to succeed. They helped me succeed. That's the flavor I want them to have. And I'm committed to doing my part and to having my team do our part. All I would ask is that, our students just, give us that opportunity to support them, right? We want to support you. And so please allow us to.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. Thank you for telling us about the Safe APU app, I believe it's called. I look forward to downloading it, seeing what it's all about, hoping APU community only continues to grow. But thank you for all you do for our campus, for sitting down to do this interview and explaining a little more about the insights into APU campus safety.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.